You know, I've seen stories like this, and sadly, there have been too many of them. Not always with a chance to sort of talk about them and get some detail on them, but in this case, well, we can. Marc-Andre Gagnon is going through a bit of a rough patch. He is in debt to the tune of about $90,000 and doing the best he can to deal with that. One of the things he's doing is living out of his car, car complete with bed, clothes, personal items, all packed inside. He's on the line. Marc-Andre, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, it's one thing to say you're living out of your car, and as I said, sadly, we know now some people, I guess post-pandemic, are having a very, very difficult time. Is this a decision you made? I mean, could you still be living somewhere and be paying rent, or did you just choose to live in your car?
Oh, yeah, I could, but I choose to do it because I wanted to pay off faster my debt. So my rent ended at the end of June, and that's at that particular moment that I asked myself if I was really in a hurry to move into another apartment, or if I could use the amount I would spend on rent for the next 2 to 3 months to instead focus on paying down my pressing debt. So that's why when I concluded that I preferred to pay off my debts rather than find an apartment right away.
So can we quantify when you say debt? I mean, the number I have here is over $90,000. How did one get $90,000 in debt to begin with?
Yeah. Currently, I have 5 types of debts. For this project of living in my vehicle, I'm focusing only on the first 3 debts. So there's a debt with Revenu Quebec. In fact, there's a debt I already paid it off. I settled it in 15 days in the first part of July. And now I'm tackling my second debt, which is a credit card debt. And the third debt is similar. So these 3 debts are what I'm working on as part of my challenge to live in my vehicle. And as for the 4th and 5th debts, they are student loans.
Wow. You know, it's one thing to say you're paying off your debts, and good for you that it's, you have like an order. You actually seem to have this thing sort of figured out. I'll pay this one first and that one, etc. When you were running these debts up, did you realize you were going to get to this kind of number? I mean, it's one thing to owe the government money. It's another thing to have credit card debt and student loan debt. I mean, you knew this was going on though, right?
Yeah, but when you're a student, you think you're naive. You think that after you get the diploma, you're gonna get your main job and you're gonna get $80,000 and you're gonna pay off everything in 1 year. But that's not the case because it takes a long time. And when you finish school, you want to get a new house, a new car, and everything. And it's not really the case that you can pay off everything in one single time. So I think that I missed a little vision at that time. But right now, I think I'm really, really organized. I'm really focused. I develop a vision, and now I'm really motivated to pay off those debts.
So let me ask you, so you were going to school. How old were you when this all happened?
It started really in 2017 when I started my master's degree. And I have got my diploma in 2021. But since I really think I struggle with my debt since 2020 because the number remained the same since 2020. It's around 95K since then.
And at the beginning when you got, so here you are with a master's degree, into what you said just a minute or so ago, you thought, okay, I have my degree, next step, understand, I'll get a job, I'll make money, and it never happened. Did you try to find work and there was just no work?
Oh, yeah, there was work. That's not the problem here. It's just because I tried to work in my in the human resources. I got a job in the recruiter background, and I try to work as well as a consultant. But the problem is when I'm focused in 2 different jobs at the same time, that had impacts, negative impacts, not only on my job but on my colleagues and managers and customers. I feel that they never told me that, but I felt at that time that I wasn't 100% on my job, and I didn't really want that. So I told myself, okay, let's focus on one thing at a time. Let's pay off some debts, not everything, but just to pay off some debts, maybe like 20-25% of it, and then come back in my job right after.
So do you still have that job or odd job now?
No, I left the job. It's back in 2023. I had that job as an analyst, and but like I said, the same job as a recruiter 2 years prior to that. I felt that I wasn't focused enough. My level of energy wasn't the same because when I go back to my job on Monday and all the people they're talking, or I went to a road trip or a vacation, and I was like, oh, I worked 20 hours this weekend. So it wasn't the same level of commitment, and it didn't work out pretty well for me. So I wanted to just focus on my debt first, and then go back to my career right after that.
So what's the timeline on this? You've done this now for a while. How long you say you're pretty organized now. How long do you think it will take of you living in your car, doing this way and saving on all this money in rent, for example, before you can say, okay, it's done and I can now go live, like I wanted to live before?
Yeah. I would say in July I saved around 3,000. So if I save 3,000 every single month, obviously it would take like 3 years to pay back everything. But like I said, I don't want to pay back everything. I just want to pay back, let's say, the first 3 levels. So the 1120 from my tax income is paid off. So I just focus on the 2 remaining credit cards, which are 9,500 and 13,000, I think. So it's around 23,000. So I would say if I save 3,000 every single month, it would take around 8 months to pay off.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not your therapist. I'm just curious, when you describe this credit card debt, how did you manage to run up $22,000 in credit card debt? What were you doing to run up that kind of money?
It's a little mix of my student loan. At one time, I didn't have anything except my credit cards to fund everything I have to pay, which is student fees, everything. So I got to use my credit card for that. But obviously, there's other things like buying gas, food, etc. That raise up my credit card limit to up to 99% right now. So I have to pay it back. But it's not only wise decisions. That it's very clear that I made some mistakes over the years about that. But right now, I'm only focusing on what I can do to fix it and do a better job at managing money.
So let me ask you then, day to day, you're trying to save, let's say, $3,000 a month. What are you doing for money?
I'm a delivery driver for Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes right now since 2020.
So the car that you live in is the same car you use to do your deliveries?
Correct.
So you're kind of at the whim, and obviously there's a lot of people using Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes. Is that making you enough money? You think that you'll be able to actually pay this off?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
My revenue with Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes, it's like between 1,000 and 1,200 per week. So it's definitely enough to pay it back. It's just I need to, as a self-employee, I need to be organized and work and be focused because, when you don't have a boss and responsibilities, it's easy to not go to work the other day because you have no energy or whatever. But you have to fix yourself a schedule, respect it, and be engaged on it. And since I've been committed to myself on TikTok, on that project, I don't give myself a choice but to be committed on that project because I owe it to myself, but to others because of that.
Well, you certainly sound like you have it well thought out. I mean, a lot of people might think, wow, living in your car, that's, bottom of the barrel. I would never consider doing that. You seem to be okay with it. That's, your house is basically your job at the same time. You're using your car to do deliveries. So listen, I wish you luck. I'm curious too, though. When you work for Uber, if you're working for Skip the Dishes, you get to choose when you want to work, right? You don't have to go every time you get a call. You don't necessarily have to take that call.
No, correct. For example, with Uber Eats, my acceptation rate is 25%. With Skip, it's different because their incentives are different because if you accept minimum of 80%, you have a certain amount of money guaranteed. But with Uber, it's different. But I can accept everything if I want to.
Well, listen, I wish you luck. Again, I would just ask you as a final question. At some point when you do get this worked out and you sound like you're on the right track, you will move back into an apartment or someplace and kind of get back to what we would call normal, right? That is the plan?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay. That's the plan. Yeah, I don't want to live in my car forever. It's just temporary. Like I said, it's just 60 to 90 days. I don't expect to live in my car this winter. be reassured of that. It's just temporary, and once I get back on track, I will go back to my career, have relationships with my friends and everything, and be assured of that I'm on the right path.
Last thing I would ask you, because you mentioned TikTok, you're posting, right, fairly regularly? People can follow you on TikTok?
Yeah.
Well, like, what's your handle?
I post once a day because I want people to know what it's like. I don't want to promote that lifestyle because my message right here is not, oh, go live in your car. No, that's not the point. It's just for myself. I owe it to myself. I want to commit. I want to succeed. I want to I want to spend my I want to.
You want to save your money?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a call? You have a delivery?
There was someone beside, but yeah, I just want to commit to myself. That's very important, and I don't want to promote that lifestyle. That's the message right there. Yeah.
And people would follow you. I said handle. I think that's a CB term. You're just Marc-Andre Gagnon on TikTok. They'd find you that way?
Yeah, Le Marc-Andre Gagnon on TikTok and YouTube. I explain everything I've been through since day one on July 1st.
Good luck for you, my friend. All the best. And let's talk again in a few months, okay, when things have kind of straightened out and gotten a little bit better.
Yeah, with pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
You bet.
Thank you.
There you go. Marc-Andre Gagnon living out of his car. And with his head, apparently, as he said, screwed on kind of right to pay down those debts for as long as it's going to take. But he's got a plan and he's organized. Good for him.